We're taking you to the great outdoors.
Holy cow, what's going on with these guys?
Find your best adventure by listening to your soul.
Follow that path and see where it leads you.
And
I'll come and get it.
Movies that will inspire you to hit the trails.
It's be a good place to live.
Then
there's good bugs, there's bad bugs.
Kick garden pests out of your garden and into the great outdoors. But first, choose the best summer camp for your kids during COVID.
The whole idea of camp is more important than ever before.
That's at the top of our list right now.
Hey everyone, I'm Christina Guerrero.
And I'm Shaguna Duolo. With the world slowly and tentatively opening up and summer coming, most of us are ready to get out of the house.
That's why today we're doing a special show dedicated to the great outdoors.
And we're going to start with kids needing to reconnect with nature. And while summer camp sounds like a perfect solution, picking the right one has different challenges these days.
Jimmy Rhodes has the questions every family needs to ask to ensure their child's safety at camp. And that's our featured story at the top of the list.
Summer camp, the swimming, the singing, the games, the COVID. Hold on, this just got terrifying.
For families, the question is, how in the world are you going to pull this off safely?
If anyone knows, it's Andy Pritikin, founder of the Liberty Lake Day Camp, past president of the American Camp Association, New York, New Jersey, and host of the Day Camp Pod podcast.
My camp had over 1,000 kids, and these kids were more than willing to use whatever protocols that I put into place.
Andy kept all 1,000 of his campers COVID-free last summer, so we're getting his top questions parents should ask about camping safely. For starters, ask if they're accredited.
The camp should be accredited by the American Camp Association.
Local jurisdictions have rules, but
the ACA stamp of approval takes camps to a higher standard than the local Board of Health does.
And when the pandemic hit, the ACA took action to create protocols and guidelines for member camps.
So if you see that American Camp Association symbol, they are adhering to an operations safety guide created by an environmental engineering company to really help camps manage opening up in a pandemic.
So they should have a set of protocols from the ACA. So next, ask to see them.
Ask them, I want to see your safety guide. I want to see what you're telling your staff. I want to know how it's going on. Camps need to communicate with their families more than ever before.
Assess those protocols on the basics.
We're talking about masks, washing hands, distancing.
And also see if they're creating pods.
This little group of kids and their counselors are going to be like a little family. And if one of them goes down, we're all going down for 2 weeks. We're all going out for 2 weeks, right?
Because you can shut down a pod without shutting down the whole camp if you do a good job of keeping the pods separated. Camps also benefited from a heightened sense of social responsibility among parents, staff, and campers.
Nobody wanted to be patient zero, and people were overcautious, if anything.
And getting outside helps too.
Most camps are outdoors. Think about all the restaurants that survived in the last year because of the tents and all that kind of thing. That is basically environment that camps are taking place.
But what about that indoor science or video camp?
There are actually indoor camps that succeeded in 2020. So even indoors can be done if you take enough precautions.
Finally, ask about experience.
Running a camp in a pandemic is not easy, and it takes camp professionals and staff who have done this before, who have weathered some storms, to really be able to manage this. This is not like a rainy day at camp. This is a lot more complicated. There's a lot of nuances here.
So you want a steady hand at the wheel.
The more experience that a camp has had through the years, the camp director, the operators, the leadership team, the top professionals at the camp, the more likely that they're going to be better prepared emotionally, mentally, protocols-wise than another place.
If you know the questions to ask, you can safely get your kid off the screens and into the world.
Camp is like boot camp for getting back into real life. Kids are resilient, but they need this opportunity to bounce back.
Camping safely during COVID is at the top of the list.
We think of an adventure as a journey where we break out of our everyday lives and expand our horizons. But that means something different for everyone. Teresa Strasser looks at how to find the right adventure for you.
The definition of getting outside may mean something different for everyone, but
I think it's very important to get that fire in your belly burning.
Marshall Ulrich, adventure racer and best-selling author of Both Feet on the Ground, shares 3 tips to find your best adventure. For starters, discover what inspires you.
When I was a kid, 5 years old, on black and white TV, I saw some mountaineers on a mountain and their fingers were frozen. And, I thought, holy cow, what's going on with these guys? But I wanted to be there.
What gets your imagination soaring? Think about who you know that's done things you might be interested in and talk to them.
But the key is, and I think everybody will sense, it's like, you know what, I'd really like to do that, and let that, follow that path and see where it leads you.
Next, face your fears.
I was afraid of water. I was afraid of heights. Growing up on a farm, we just never went to the pool. I really didn't know how to swim, so I got into adventure racing, and one of the reasons I did that was to face those fears.
The more you expose yourself to the things that you fear, the easier it is to get out of your own way, like how Marshall got into racing.
I went out and did a 5K. Well, I can do this. And so then I used that as a building block to leap into 10Ks, marathons, ultra marathoning.
If you get bored, try something else. If you're not happy with how you're performing, move on to the next thing and stay positive.
If you keep concentrating on the negative and what you can't do instead of what you can do, well, then, you're doomed.
Finally, enjoy the fruits of your labor.
When I'd run an ultra marathon, I'd get super, super sore afterwards. And I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking to myself, well, I just, finished this 50 or 100 miler or whatever, and my muscles were aching. I savored that. It was like, it's because you did something really difficult.
The memories and stories can be savored, and experience can be used to inspire the next adventure.
What I like to say to people is don't take yourself too seriously. Just relax a little bit. And if it's meant to be, go out and do it.
Step outside yourself to discover your best adventure.
Well, summer gardens are great, but the pests that come with them, not so much. Now, if you want to banish those bugs without using chemicals, we have ways to do it naturally.
Gardens, big and small, in your backyard or your balcony will all face the same problem. So let's talk about what's bugging your garden with the green thumb genius Justin Rohner.
There's good bugs, there's bad bugs, and there's just plain ugly bugs.
So let's start with the good guys.
Some of the best ones in your garden are going to be the lacewing, assassin bug, and your ladybug.
Not all insects are pests. The bugs above can actually help you out.
And everybody knows what a ladybug looks like, but you don't often know what the ladybug larva looks like, and that one is probably the most beneficial one for killing off some of the bad bugs like aphids better than any other one out there. So be careful which ones you pull off your garden or you're spraying for. Don't kill the good guys. Keep those guys around.
Which brings us to the real pests.
The bad bugs, like the aphids, the white flies, the snails, caterpillars, a lot of those will just devastate your garden and cause more sadness than good.
Snails can actually cause holes in the leaves, stems, and stalks of your plants. That's the same with caterpillars, but once they bloom into butterflies, you don't need to worry about them anymore.
So you might want to get those out, and you might want to be using good bugs to get rid of them.
Yep, we're bugging your bugs with other bugs.
So if you manage your garden well, you'll never need a pesticide. You'll never need to get rid of those bad guys because you'll bring in the good guys.
You can create your own little garden superheroes to wipe out the villains before they wipe out your garden.
A great way to do that is creating a trap plant, intentionally allowing one specific plant to get a little sick. And when it gets sick, it attracts all those bad bugs, like aphids.
As the bad bugs collect on the plant, it will naturally attract the good ones.
And when they show up, they're going to start laying their eggs and creating their own colony that'll be in your yard for years and years to come.
That's the good, the bad, and the ugly of bugs.
Up next, the apps that'll make the natural world more wondrous. Plus, epic road trips that could inspire the adventure seeker in you.
We did install a loudspeaker.
Then, follow your starry sign for your next getaway.
Leo is very geared toward having fun.
We're back on the Great Outdoors Trail. Next.
Welcome back to our Great Outdoors Show. For a lot of people, a big reason to head out into nature is to get away from our screens. But the fact is, tech can boost your outdoor experience and in some surprising ways. We've got apps to make getting outside even better.
Hiking is having a moment right now among people 18 to 24, thanks in part to a lot of innovative apps. So grab your phone, strap on your boots, and hit the great outdoors. For starters, the Night Sky app puts a planetarium in your pocket.
If, whilst tracking the sky, you find a celestial object that you wish to know more about, simply tap that object.
International Space Station flyover starts at 8:08 p.m.
You can identify stars, planets, constellations, and even satellites simply by pointing your phone's camera at the stars.
You can also choose a location from which to view, such as South Africa.
You'll learn some astronomy on the free version or pretend you're really in space with the premium version's augmented reality feature. The Night Sky app is available on Apple iOS. Next, hit the trails with a botanist in your phone with PlantSnap.
PlantSnap is changing the game for plant identification using deep learning and artificial intelligence.
Simply point the camera, tap the circled area, and
PlantSnap comes back with the most likely results in just seconds. Click on the thumbnails to view more information on the plant.
It even has a Get button that tells you where you can buy the plant online. PlantSnap is free and available on Apple iOS and Android. Finally, stay safe outdoors and give your loved ones some peace of mind with the Cairn app.
Let the app know where you're headed, when you plan to be back, what you're doing, and who your safety contacts are.
Cairn will email this info to your safety contacts.
While on the trail, you can use Cairn to see where you get coverage in case you want to check in or share a photo.
When your outdoor trek is finished, check in on the app and your emergency contacts will be alerted that you're back safe and sound. The Cairn app is free and available on Apple iOS. Tech taking the outdoors to the next level.
Do you ever feel like forgetting about all your worries and heading out on an awesome road trip? Well, we've got some inspiration for you. Jimmy Rhodes has 3 YouTubers devoted to living life in the fast lane on the Buzz List. Jimmy.
Thanks. These YouTubers are rolling up the miles and the views, documenting life on the open road. Coming in at number 1, Epic Family Road Trip.
Hi, I'm Peter.
I'm Carol. I'm Caroline.
I'm Peter Jr.
I'm Dan. And we're the Van Stralens.
This family of 5 sold everything to drive around the world.
In 2015, we embarked on an epic family road trip around North America.
Since then, they've done good deeds while traveling non-stop, like helping rescue 120 pilot whales that were stranded on a remote beach in New Zealand.
Caring for others and trying to make a difference in the world is what gives our lives and our journey meaning and purpose.
And they've helped plant rice with locals in Indonesia.
The next time we ate a bowl of rice, we really understood the work and the labor that goes into producing it.
That family's racking up miles and memories. At number 2, Eamon and Beck.
And for the last 3 years, we've lived in a van to travel the world.
This couple's living the hashtag van life, showing off their 3 different tiny homes on wheels.
We did install the loudspeaker and the swivel seat because it really does open up the space.
The channel shows the realities of van life, teaching you how to build out necessities like a power source.
We've created the largest van electrical system we've ever seen.
And giving tips on things like where to park your van overnight.
Here we are, tucking in for a good night's sleep.
They make living in a van down by the river look good. And third on our list of YouTube road tripping channels, Kara and Nate.
We purchased a converted Sprinter van that will be our full-time home as we travel across the U.S.
They've gone on over-the-top adventures like spending a night in America's largest sand dunes.
This is what we heard all night instead of the complete silence.
They've also explored America's highest city.
It was a mining boom for lead, hence the name Leadville. Then once all the...
I did not even catch that.
And they even attempted to mountain bike 500 miles across Colorado.
Man, this is going to be a fun 2 weeks.
Yikes, good thing he was wearing a helmet. YouTube channels that'll rev up your wanderlust on the Buzz List. Hey, lots more to come on the list, so stay with us.
Welcome back to our great outdoor show. A lot of people have cabin fever right now, and if you need a little escape, here's a solution. We have films that celebrate nature on the hot list.
If you're longing for an adventure in the great outdoors, look no further than the movies. We rounded up 4 films that showcase our majestic world in all of its wonder, starting with 2014's Wild.
I'm sorry you have to walk 1,000 miles just to...
Finish that sentence. Why do I have to walk 1,000 miles?
Happy trails, Cheryl.
Reese Witherspoon stars in this critically acclaimed film based on the true story of a woman who hiked 1,100 miles along the Pacific Crest Trail on a journey of self-discovery.
We want to capture every element of her journey, how difficult it was, but how inspiring it was, how beautiful it was, whether they be sort of these majestic redwoods or wide open fields of snow.
Both Reese and Laura Dern, who played her mother, were Oscar nominated for their roles.
If I could go back in time, I wouldn't do a single thing differently.
Now from hiking to riding with 2004's The Motorcycle Diaries.
Bendito sea su viaje.
Don't let the subtitles scare you away. This award-winning foreign film is based on the memoir of revolutionary leader Che Guevara and recounts a transformative trip he took through stunning South America when he was in his 20s. Watching it will make you feel like you're cruising, swimming, and hiking along with him.
Gracias por los pasajes, gracias por la ropa, muchas gracias por...
Next up, 1992's A River Runs Through It.
Eventually, all things merge into one, and a river runs through it.
Brad Pitt stars in this movie directed by Robert Redford about 2 sons growing up surrounded by the gorgeous views of Missoula, Montana.
In Montana, there are 3 things we're never late for: church, work, and fishing.
That awe-inspiring scenery helped the movie win the Oscar for Best Cinematography.
I'll come and get it.
And the final movie on our list is almost 50 years old, Jeremiah Johnson.
His name was Jeremiah Johnson. They say he wanted to be a mountain man. Here's his story.
A young Robert Redford stars in this 1972 adventure film, which was the first Western to ever be screened at the Cannes Film Festival. It's a great reminder that not only is our world beautiful now, but it was back in the Wild West too.
This would be a good place to live.
Exploring the outdoors without ever going outdoors on the hot list.
Next, the ultimate way to pick your perfect summer vacation. That's coming up.
Friends, welcome back to our Great Outdoors show. Now, lots of us are hoping to take a summer vacation, but with so many choices, how do you decide what to do? Well, forget throwing darts at the map. This year, we are picking a vacation based on your zodiac.
Get to packing because we're going on summer vacation. And we turn to astrologist Jim Ventura to help us pick a destination based on our zodiac signs. We're starting our cosmic journey with Taurus.
Tauruses are very much geared toward a little bit of indulgence and luxury. A winery would be an amazing place. Even a spa retreat where it was centered a lot on relaxation and enjoyment. Taurus doesn't want a heavy pace or heavy schedule of a lot to do.
Jim says make sure to keep the schedule loose so it's as relaxing as possible. Our next starry sign is Gemini.
When we're looking at a sign like Gemini for a vacation, we're definitely looking at mental stimulation. Obviously, like New York City would be exciting to a Gemini.
Jim says the more engaging, the better for Gemini.
Gemini really needs a certain amount of information and gets enjoyment from communication, expression, learning.
He says going to a museum or taking a tour would be great for the inquisitive minds of Geminis. Now we're talking to all you Cancers out there.
Cancers are very geared toward nurturing. You're going to be supportive enough to want to take your family to Disney World or something that's a little bit more of a family vacation.
He says a place where your family can connect and communicate with others is ideal. Our last trip advice is for the Leos.
Leo is very geared toward having fun. A place like Las Vegas, of course, might appeal to a Leo, or Miami, or something where they can kind of shine, interact with people.
Jim says the more exciting, the better for Leos.
So Leos really enjoy having a sense of fun, and they will push the limits a little bit in terms of some of the things they would do to get there.
If we didn't mention your sign, head over to thelisttv.com. Here's to reading the signs to tell us where to vacation this summer.
Christina, I'm a Libra, you're a Libra. Doesn't the idea of taking our toddlers on summer vacation leave you a little off balance?
Yeah, we do need that balance in our lives. But after a year of no travel, I will take anything I can get. Thanks so much for watching our Great Outdoors show, friends.